الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Praise be to Allah. The most fragrant prayers are to be sent upon our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the best salutations, and upon his family and upon his companions. The most important copy of Sahih al-Bukhari that was kept for us is the copy of Al-Imam al-Yunini. We mentioned this in the previous episode. Sharaf al-Din Ali ibn al-Husayn al-Yunini, a great scholar of hadith in Damascus in the 7th century of Hijrah. He gathered the top scholars of his time, and including Al-Imam Ibn Malik, the author of the 1,000-line didactic poem in grammar, Ibn Malik al-Andalusi. And they read Sahih al-Bukhari together, and he later on compared Sahih al-Bukhari in 1 year. He read it and studied it and compared it against other copies 11 times in 1 year. Actually, he spent the whole of his life just serving his copy of Sahih al-Bukhari and comparing it and correcting it. And to do that, he went to the major copies and most reliable copies and documented the variants or the differences between these copies together. Now, coming later on to later generations, we find that after Al-Imam al-Yunini, his copy became actually reliable. Scholars copied that Sahih from his own copy, and it spread. Shihabuddin al-Nuwairi, for example, and Biqa'i and many others. But actually, one of the most important scholars who served Sahih al-Bukhari is Abdullah ibn Salim al-Basri of Mecca, who died here 1134. He served Sahih al-Bukhari and corrected his copy and spent 20 years editing his copy of Sahih al-Bukhari. He taught Bukhari even inside the Kaaba. He authored the commentary on al-Bukhari, which he didn't finish, by the way, and his copy became the most reliable copy. Now, when we talk about printed copies of Sahih al-Bukhari, we need to understand that these two important copies of al-Yunini and al-Basri are absolutely the best copies of Sahih al-Bukhari. And when we look at the criterion for which we can prefer an edition after another amongst the printed copies of Bukhari, we go back to the Yunini and Basri, and that is summed up in the edition of Sultan Abdul Hamid. The edition of Sultan Abdul Hamid, printed in Bulaq in Egypt, year 1311 to 1313 of Hijrah, is the most reliable copy of Sahih al-Bukhari because it was compared against these two copies, and these two copies are lost now. Sultan Abdul Hamid sent the Yuniniya copy, which he had in his royal library, to Egypt, and a group of 17 scholars led by Shaykh al-Azhar Hassun al-Nawawi compared this copy, reviewed it, the edition, with the Yunini, and then they sent it back. After that, no news of that Yunini original copy. It is lost. The same with the Basri copy. It was owned by Sheikh Tahir Sumbul in Medina. He brought it to Istanbul. It was sent to Egypt, and the editors in the Bulaq printing house used it to correct their edition, but then later on in Medina, it was lost. This is why the royal edition of Sultan Abdul Hamid in 9 volumes, printed in 1313, they finished the printing of it, is the most reliable copy of Sahih al-Bukhari. And thanks to Sultan Abdul Hamid, may Allah reward him for this great service for the Muslim Ummah, which he made now after 128 years. Still, his edition stands out as the best edition of Sahih al-Bukhari.
كم سعيت إلى أعتاب سدته فعدت أرفل في ثوب بنته